Jacob's Well is a beautiful clear water spring located in central Texas. It's a popular swimming location for novice and expert divers alike. The surface of Jacob's Well is only 4 meters wide and it's a body of beautiful water. However, the deeper you go into Jacob's Well, the more dangerous it becomes. Okay.
Yeah, just don't go there. Fuck.
The well is made up of 4 chambers that go deep below the surface. Once you jump into the well, you can then go to the first chamber by going 30 feet straight down, after which the first chamber goes down to about 55 feet. All right. So in this chamber, it's pretty good sun. You're already fucking freaked out. It's nothing. So this chamber has pretty good sunlight. It's got animals and wildlife and algae and shit in it, and like it's a place where novice divers can go. All right.
Now I think I know which one you're doing.
Do you? Maybe. Right. So once you reach the bottom of the first chamber, there is an even narrower hole. That is the second chamber. Like that hole is the second chamber. The entire thing is just a narrow tunnel that goes down 80 feet.
Oh, wow.
Straight to hell.
So if you were game enough to venture down here, you would absolutely...
Stupid enough, you mean?
Well, yes. You would have... Well, no, because this... You don't have to be like a full professional diver to go in the second chamber. You just need to have your wits about you. Because when you're ascending from the second chamber, so when you're coming back up, there is another little hole that looks exactly like the second chamber, but it's actually a false chimney that leads around and around and around and around and then comes to like a dead end. And you just like smash into this dead end. And then you've obviously got to like turn around and come back and go up there, back up the real chamber. But, you know, divers only have limited amount of oxygen.
No shit.
Yeah, so if you don't have enough air when you're turning around there, you got to fucking hope.
Fuck.
So now once you've reached the bottom of the second chamber, you'd be greeted by an even narrower entrance, which is to the third chamber. If you were an experienced driver or crazy enough to enter the third chamber...
Driver or diver?
Diver, motherfucker, diver. Yeah. You would have to squeeze through the narrow entrance, and it's a serious squeeze. Like you're like... Because you got the oxygen tanks and shit on, it's fucking hard to wriggle your way through.
To get through?
Not at that point. Once you managed to push yourself out of the tight entrance, you would arrive into a tiny room that is only 10 feet high, has almost no light, and can actually be completely blinding because it's filled with loose gravel and silt. So if you like put your fins in the wrong spot or knock something...
I'm sorry, why the fuck do people do this?
People love exploring and adventuring.
But you can't see.
Yeah, well, if you do that, the whole thing will just fill up with silt.
Oh, my God.
All right, so it's blinding.
Oh,
and then
yuck.
you don't really want that. That's not ideal at all because
No
you
shit.
obviously got to find your way back up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm scared.
So for all intents and purpose, at least as far as humans are concerned, the bottom of the third chamber of Jacob's Well is meant to mark the end of your descent. All right, so that's where.
So you turn around and go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, at the bottom of the third chamber, there is a steel grate. This steel grate covers an incredibly tight passage that leads to the fourth chamber, otherwise known as the Virgin Cave. Why the Virgin Cave? Because no one has ever seen it, has lived long enough to describe how it looks. Hence the big steel grate.
Right.
Now, this is where the story really kicks off. In 1983, 2 college students named Richard Patton and Clark McConnell, who were both experienced cave divers and had dived in Jacob's Well previously, decided to do something completely dumb and attempt to get into the fourth chamber. So Richard and Clark got their gear together and began their descent through the first chamber and down through the ever-tightening second and third chambers until they reached the grate.
I feel like this is a bad idea.
The 2 pulled out some gear they had brought with them and were able to get the grate open. Now, the entrance to the fourth chamber is so tight that in order to get through it, Richard, who was the first to enter, needed to take off his oxygen tank and push it through the hole ahead of him. Then, while keeping the breathing apparatus in his mouth, he squeezed headfirst through the hole and wriggled his way down.
Stop it. No, I don't want to hear any more.
Clark,
nightmares.
who was waiting for Richard to get through the tunnel, would later report that as soon as Richard had squeezed through his way through, he almost immediately came screaming back up towards the top of the hole and was trying to squirm his way back out. Clark soon realised that Richard had actually lost his oxygen tank and was scrambling his way back to the surface on a single breath.
Fuck.
Oh my God.
No,
oh my
I
God.
can't.
Oh my
I feel
God.
sick. You are actually making me feel sick.
Clark helped to yank Richard out of the hole and then gave him his mouthpiece. So now the pair are at the bottom of the third chamber trying to make their way up, and they're buddy breathing.
Sharing. Yeah. Fuck.
So
I need a buddy breather right now.
I need to actually remember to breathe right now.
the two get out of the third chamber and are swimming up and out of the second chamber before their heads suddenly smash into a wall. This is when they realise they had actually come up the false chimney.
Fuck.
Not long after that, they hear the gut-wrenching sound of kutunk, the sound of their oxygen tank running out.
No.
Clark took a massive breath, turned and swam for his life out of the false chimney into the second chamber, up through the first chamber before just managing to make it to the surface before it was too late. But Richard wasn't so lucky, and he spent the final moments of his life trapped in a tiny tunnel, blinded by silt, running out of air and frantically trying to get out before ultimately succumbing to a watery grave.
Oh my God.
I hate you so much.
Recovery divers would later go in to retrieve Richard's body, and they found him jammed up at the top of the false chimney.
Oh, that's horrific.
See, I knew one of them had to live because that was way too detailed to just for them to figure out. Like, someone had to live, but that's fucked, Karen. Thank
Yeah.
you.